could apply up to $7,500, and businesses over 20 employees would be eligible up to $10,000. Again, those are parameters that we are throwing out to you. Again, that total percentage doesn't equal 100% because some of the businesses are not classified. So we think that would spread out the money pretty far and wide. And again, we're trying to help as many people as possible on there. Some of the grant funds could be used for some expenditures that have occurred between March 1st of this year and the end of this year in 2020. So if they're anticipating there's still some more expenditures they're going to need, maybe it's a restaurant and preparing to reopen and some of those things, they could do that. I've provided you a list of approved expenses that they could use it for. It's quite detailed, so there's a lot of different things that they could be using the money for. As part of that, there's also Opportunity Stanislaus developed a scoring rubric. So that way, we know exactly how to score things and it's not subjective. It's laid out in terms of you're going to get 5 points for this category, 8 points for this category, and you go down the line and talks on need. They would go ahead and score those for us and then bring those to us. And my recommendation would be a local team comprised of, I'd like the finance director to sit in on it. I think it'd be appropriate for 2 council members to maybe help go through those applications, and then maybe a member of the Chamber of Commerce. They could help finalize the list of funds, go through the final scoring and figure out what's the best way to distribute those funds. And then ultimately make a recommendation to the council, which would be approved at the first meeting in December. If approved, we would be ready. Opportunity Stanislaus in the city would be ready to open the application process this Friday. We have this program really teed up and ready to go. So again, we're just looking for final council blessing. It would run through 4 p.m. on Friday, November 20th. And then after that, we would score them and get them all ready to go. And so we could have that available and ready to roll to the council at their first meeting in December. Again, Opportunity Stanislaus would participate, be an active participant in there. Their people, Opportunity Stanislaus employees, would be the ones that all the phone calls would go to them. They would handle all the questions. They would help everybody with the application process. They would create a dedicated website for people who want to apply for the program. And then they would also market the program to local businesses through social media, direct emails, and also work with us in terms of how to get the word out, because we have our social media on there as well. For their role, we would reimburse Opportunity Stanislaus $7,500. So for the total funding of this particular program would be $107,500. And again, that would come from the money that was allocated back to us from the Stanislaus County CARES Act funding program. So this would not be a general fund expense. So I've talked to some local people. They think, I was a little concerned, people would say, well, you're so late into the game, but people are saying a lot of the funding that came out early has already been spent. And so businesses are still having some challenges there. So the potential to have some grant funding before we get into the holiday season would really help a lot of these local businesses. So I think the timing is good. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have. And it is staff's recommendation that the council let's move forward with the COVID-19 business grant program application and fund it with $100,000. So, and again, I can answer any questions you may have.
Hi, Michael. This is Casey. I got 2 or 3 questions for you.
I'm ready.
The first one is, this is a grant, so there's no payback, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And will new businesses looking to open up be eligible?
Have to be established.
No, you have to have already been established. There is no time frame for how long you've been established, but you have to be a business already.
And you're ending this November. Is it if there's leftover funds, can we look at a second round?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part again.
You're looking in the application time mid November. So say we didn't fulfill all the $100,000 worth of grants, is the potential for us to have a second round?
Councilman, the biggest challenge is that the government wants the CARES Act funds expended by December 30th of 2020. So we probably would not have time to go another round. But on the flip side, if we got more requests than 100,000, council could look at maybe increasing that amount above the 100,000 up to 140,000.
Okay. I got that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, any other questions for Michael?
Yeah, one last question, and it might, spill over to D Martini, because I know that he had mentioned at one time is that with this monies is that if we don't use that money up, then they want that money back. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
That's all I have.
Well, let's make sure we push it to our businesses so it gets used.
Right? That's
Okay.
right.
Was there any other questions from the council? If not, I'm going to open it up to the public for any comment they may have.
If there's any members of the public wishing to provide public comment on this item, you can do so by pressing the raise hand button under the participant tab or *9 on your phone. And at this time, Mayor, I do not see any hands raised for public comment on this item.
Thank you. With that, I'll bring it back to the council for direction.
I move for approval of 19 business grant program with the funding amount of $100,000 allocated from the Stanislaus County CARES Act funding.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. Moving on to B, Proposition 68 grant funding discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and take this one as well. So the state's Department of Parks and Recreation has announced the Proposition 68 Round 4 grant application is open. The deadline to submit an application is in December. This round, there is $395.3 million available to be distributed. The minimum grant application is $200,000, and the maximum amount is $8.5 million. Now, cities can submit multiple applications, but only one application can be submitted per site. Back in round, just to kind of give you a context, during round 3, there were $2.3 billion worth of grant applications submitted, and only 254 million were awarded. So, these are going to be very competitive funds. But with that being said, we think we have a really strong project with the Pool Aquatic Center project.
Right.
And that project is, we did a lot of public outreach when we originally did this. And so we think there's a good chance that we could, have an opportunity to do that, as well as being a disadvantaged community. But part of what I think I wanted to make sure the council understands is even if we submit this application and we get it built, we still have the potential for a substantial cost to us on an ongoing basis. The last thing that any city ever wants to do is create a structural deficit in their budget and get behind the 8 ball where you're always in a hole and you can never get out. So when we looked at our original cost estimate, and most people were like, "Oh, yeah, the city's crazy. $7 million, $6 million, $0.5 million for a pool. That's crazy." And things are expensive. I mean, you can look at just recent news in the school district where 6 tennis courts,
Yes.
$2.6 million, and
Right.
$3 million for their 2 bids.
Right.
That didn't include a parking lot. That didn't include restroom structures. And then I taught her, Superintendent Philpott was generous enough to share their most recent pool estimate for us that they have for their pool estimate, it's at 5 million right now. So they have a pool estimate at 5 million, and that doesn't include a parking lot. That doesn't include restroom facilities, and it doesn't include a lifeguard area. And if you think about it, if you're having public swim, you need to have a medical room. You need to have a lifeguard area. So if someone has heat stroke, if somebody has an emergency and you need to get them out of the heat into a safe place, there's a place where they can go. And there's also a place that, lifeguards can recover from the sun, as well as use restrooms and other things over there. So we anticipate that if so directed by the council, we would probably apply for the full amount, the full 8.5 million. And that would include the entire complex. We would hope that would include the spray pad, but in the end, that may have to get cut first if there's not enough funding. But with that, I asked our finance director to look at other communities and see what they spend on an annual basis for the operation and maintenance of a pool. So Lou's going to talk to you a little bit about what they found. So Lou.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. So back in 2015, when we started this project, we started tracking cities of Patterson, Galt, Brentwood, Oakdale, and Gustine, and looking at their cost for operations over several years. More recently, the city of Patterson probably has the most robust out of all of them, and their cost for salaries, benefits, plus all the maintenance on it was right at $474,000. And then they recovered just under $100,000 from tickets, rentals, parties, events, stuff like that. So it was a net loss of about $383,000. Now they have a major operation there. If we did something close to that, we would probably be in the same boat. The cities of, let's see here, we had Galt was another one. Their expenditures were right at $349,000. And then Oakdale is a little bit smaller operation, about $80,000 a year. And Brentwood was up in the $700,000 a year. So in ours, back in 2015, we had NBS do a study for us, and they used a figure of $179,500 for the project that we had planned. That was a few years ago, and today's dollars is probably right around $200,000 a year, which it's significant. This would all have to come out of our general fund. And currently we have not had a history that would be able to support that. We're typically running positive, maybe 50 to 70,000 a year. And then sometimes we end up a little bit negative. It kind of puts us right on the edge, so that if we had some event that came up where we needed to spend some general fund monies, it would make that very tight. One of the things that we proposed back then when we did the community facilities district is that part of the taxes that we would bring in would go towards maintenance and operations, so we had a steady stream of funding. Yeah, if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
What's the anticipation that the business park would contribute to the funding available?
That's a good question, council member. And so there's two pieces to that. If the annexation were to go through, we obviously, I think in the end, our general fund would benefit from that. Typically, non-residential contribute more to budgets on a positive effect, meaning they generate more revenue and use less services than a residential area. So there could be some positive effect from a business park coming in. And unfortunately, at this point, we can't necessarily quantify exactly what that is. We know at full build out, we think that the financial analysis tells us we'd be about close to $1 million a year positive to the budget. So there's one piece to it that would help. Second piece could potentially be as if, we did another CFD, but it'd be for a much smaller amount that would help to offset the costs for moving that forward. But that would be a second one, and that would require voter approval.
I have a question for you, Michael. And I think I mentioned it before, is that, you know, the school district basically was talking about having their own pool. They have all, I mean, had basically had the site ready, you know, and the drawings and everything else. And we talked about this one time at one of the meetings that we hold on the 2 and 2 in terms of joint venture. Why isn't that even contemplated in terms of even a thought, you know, in terms of trying to put this together for a joint venture? Because I know that if the swimming pool is built, that the school district basically is going to want to participate in terms of using that pool. So
Yeah, and so I'm sorry. So in the past, we have had those conversations with them, and there's two things that that kind of go in together with what Councilmember McDonald was discussing is the school district still has a bond vote that's going to occur in November. If successful, they have a potential pool that could go along with that. So there may not be a need for us to construct a pool if the bond measure is successful and the school district goes forward. We in no way believe that this community needs two pools. So if they're successful, we may not need this. What we think is the most prudent thing to do, council member, is to have a backup plan, which would be for us to submit the application just in case. Because we can't really wait until the election is certified to put our application together because we won't have enough time. So what we need to do is we can always submit our application. Even if we're awarded, we can always say, thank you, but no thank you. The school district has done a wonderful job of doing this, so therefore we're not going to take the money at this time. Thank you very much.
well,
And Michael,
in the past,
let me finish up. Let me finish up too when he finishes, please.
Okay, so in the past, Councilman, we have talked to the school district about wanting to joint venture on our park site. It has been the district's position that because it's not on one of their sites, they do not believe they would fully utilize it, and therefore they've been non-committal to doing a joint partnership on a pool. Now that may change with the results of this bond. I don't know, but that's kind of where they've been in the past. They have just felt because it wasn't going to be on a school district property, there was less. They felt that there was less of the potential for them to utilize it than if it would have been on school property.
Things have changed. Things have changed since then too. So I would suggest maybe just touching bases and have their mind change in reference to that, because I think it'd be a good idea to be a win-win situation for the city of Newman. And then another thing is this. Let me say this: yourself and Lou, you're brilliant people, and I love the way you guys, you know, keep things in order in terms of grants, going after certain monies, because some cities, you know, bypass those monies that are out there. And I'm glad that we have these brilliant minds like yourself and Lou that see this money out there and you go after it. I really think that we have been blessed in a way that your minds, you know, work in terms of making sure that we take advantage of all the dollars that are out there to be had.
Well, thank you for the kind comments. And I'll just add a little bit more, Councilman McDonald, just to kind of what the flavor of your tone there. Yes, I think we need to have further conversations with the district. What's important, though, is I think we need to get past this election so we can see what the results are. And then things will kind of become a little bit more clear in terms of, you know, what direction we need to pursue as a community and what site we need to pursue. If their bond is unsuccessful, then ours becomes more prevalent in terms of more important in terms of having the opportunity to provide that facility for our community. If it doesn't, we can still have that. If their bond does not does not pass, we will still submit our bond, our application, and then we can still have conversations with them about what's the most appropriate site for going forward.
That makes sense, Michael.
Sounds great.
But again,
This is
so-
a,
It's really important to recognize too that you've said that if their bond passes and ours becomes not necessary, that we can always thank you, but no thank you. So it's
Correct.
prudent for us to pursue that action, at least in my.
I agree. So when we discussed with the school the option of the city joining in on the school project, we talked about cost sharing for maintenance and things along that lines. So we'd be paying maintenance no matter what, whether it's a city pool or if we joined in with the school in some form. And the cost might vary. However, if we get this pool, they might be able to join in on cost sharing with us. And as you said, there's no guarantee their bond's going to pass. And even if we can't figure out the funding to maintain the pool, we don't have to accept a grant. So I think it's a good idea to put in for the grant and prepare just in case and look at different things and maybe get evaluations from a couple different cities again on what their costs are yearly on the pool maintenance. So we have a better understanding of that because it's been a couple years and go from there. But I think it's a great idea to continue to put that continue with the grant process because it could be majorly beneficial to us as a city.
I agree.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from the council? If not, I'd like to open it up to the general public for any comments.
And members of the public wishing to provide public comment on this item can do so by pressing the raise hand button under the participant tab or *9 on your phone. And at this time, Mayor, I do not see any hands raised for this item.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to bring it back to the council for direction.
I'd like to recommend that
Move
the
it.
council proceed with. Go ahead, Casey.
Go ahead, Mr. Day.
Go ahead.
I move that the city manager go ahead with Proposition 60 funding and complete the application for potentially gaining funding for a city pool.
I'll second. Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion in 2 seconds. Anyway, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
One is in opposition.
No, it was an aye.
It was an aye, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, the motion,
Oh, Lord.
could I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Day,
Aye.
Councilmember Graham,
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Candia,
Aye.
Mayor Martina.
Aye. Motion carried 5-0. Thank you very much. With that, we're going to move on to C, request to add items of immediate needs. And Nubia, you were going to help us with this one?
Yes, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. This agenda item is added subsequent to the agenda being posted. So we do have to handle one preliminary matter before you consider the item. And that is due to the immediate need for this agenda item to be considered and approved by the council. We're presenting it to you as part of an amended agenda. And so in order to move forward with the item, we request a motion and a vote to add this agenda item to the agenda pursuant to the government code section that's referenced in the staff report and in the agenda itself as an immediate need item.
I'll
Okay, wait.
move.
So Mayor, what we'll need is a motion to add
Yes.
the agenda item and vote.
Yeah, I think there's been a motion to request an addition item of immediate need. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried 5-0. With that, we're going to move on to C, which is adopt resolution number 2020, next number, authorizing the city manager to sign and file a pipeline maintenance agreement with Stanislaus County to maintain the city of Newman pipeline installation as part of the CR6 Well 10 project.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Catherine, and I'll be presenting this item. As part of our Well 10 project, as you know, we'll be installing major water lines along Jensen Road, Fig Lane, and Hardin Road. And so those roads are in the county right of way. The city doesn't own those roads. So we, as part of the encroachment permit, we need to enter into a pipeline maintenance agreement with the county where we take on the responsibility to maintain the lines that are in the road and then any subsequent road work that our pipeline would cause. So if we had a leak out there and we had to dig up the road and fix it, we would be required to fix the road back to county standards. And that's what the maintenance agreement references. The county.
Catherine,
Yes.
excuse me a minute. This is Murray. Somebody has a conversation going on in the background. If you're talking to someone, mute. Thank you.
Okay, so as part of the encroachment permit, we have to enter into a pipeline maintenance agreement. And the county doesn't object to us installing the water lines in their roadway. They just want to make sure that we take the responsibility of repairing the road and our water line, which we of course will do. But so say our water line has a leak and we have to dig it up in the road, then this maintenance agreement says we're going to, in addition to repairing our water main, we would repair the road back to county standards. And so the city and the county mutually agree to the terms of the pipeline maintenance agreement. And we wanted to present this to you. It's a routine matter, but we would like your approval on this, authorizing the city manager to enter into this agreement. And it will be recorded with the county recorder's office. And so this agreement will live in perpetuity until the roadways either become the city roadways or and basically until that time. And I'll take any questions on this item.
Catherine, if the annexation proposal is accepted, then the Jensen Road and those roads, Hardin and Fig, become our property, and this agreement goes away.
So in the full build out of the annexation area and the master plan, that would be the case. For if we take the next proposed piece of annexation, whatever is identified as becoming city road, then we would amend this pipeline maintenance agreement to remove those pieces of roadway from the pipeline maintenance agreement. And we would bring that back to you to do that amendment.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from any councilman? Okay, with that, I'm going to open it up to the general public for any comment.
Any members of the public wishing to provide public comment on this agenda item can do so now by pressing the raise hand button under the participant tab or *9 on your phone. And at this time, Mayor, there are no hands raised for this agenda item.
Thank you very much. I'd like to bring it back to the council for direction, please.
Move for adoption of the resolution number 2020, next to number, authorizing the city manager to sign and file a pipeline maintenance agreement with Stanislaus County to maintain the City of Newman pipeline installation as part of the CR6 Well 10 project.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you very much. With
Thank
that, I'm
you.
gonna- Thank you. Yeah, we're moving on to item 11, item from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim DeMartini. Jim, are you on tonight?
Yes, I have some. Can you hear me okay, Mayor?
Yes, we can hear you fine, Jim.
Okay, I never know this computer because I don't know how to operate one very well. Okay, I just have a couple of things for you tonight. As you talked about that CARES Act, we had $2 million that we had designated for nonprofits that was voted on today and distributed out. These are for youth groups, arts groups. I noticed that the West Side Theater was one of the recipients and they were awarded $10,000 today for their program. I don't know the names of all these organizations that are on the list and I'm not sure what city they're from, but I recognize that one. So anyway, $2 million was distributed today. That's in addition to what we did the last meeting for business grants. We also, as a surprise to me this last week, were informed by the federal government that we were awarded $22 million that we did not ask for new homeless programs, which really quite surprised me since we threw away $35 million on homeless programs last year with very scant results. So now we have to figure out how to spend another $22 million. However, this $22 million will go countywide. So if the city of Newman has a program for homeless, something like what Patterson has, those funds would be available if you apply for them. I don't know much of the details of it because this just happened last week. And I say we just didn't even know it was coming. It was like that $96 million of the CARES Act. We didn't ask for that either, and we were just informed that they were depositing $96 million in our checking account. So anyway, so there's $22 million more. We hope that that has better results than the $35 million we already spent. I'm not very optimistic. Okay, it's this for the task force art and essay contest that's still going on right now. The deadline is November 4th, and then we will judge the entries at Dustine City Hall a few days later, and then we will print up our calendar and present the awards at the school district board meetings. So a reminder was sent out today to the school districts. This is the second reminder that the contest is ready to end. So anyway, that's where that's at. So we don't know how many entries we're going to get, but usually it's 300 or better a year between the 3 school districts and the 2 private schools. And that's all I have tonight, unless you have any questions for me.
I have one for you real quickly. I have one for him. Excuse me, Bob, Mayor. Last meeting, I mentioned to you that there was tons of dollars that were going to be allocated for the valley. So you're touched by an angel when you're not knowing where those dollars are coming from. You're being recognized. The valley is being recognized, and they got our eyes on you. So those money sometimes, without you even asking for it, it comes.
Well, I've been there for 16 years, and I've never seen anything like this before. Normally, you have to have a plan, a spending plan, and then ask for the money, and then it's appropriated, if they deem that it's a worthy program. This is just, hey, you're getting $22 million, come up with a program to spend it. So it's quite a change from what the norm has been. But like I say, this will be countywide, so that we expect that the cities to be able to tap into this. Honestly, I don't know how we can spend more than the 35 million we already spent this last year. I mean, we're putting homeless people in the hotels now. We built a multi-million-dollar homeless shelter, then moved them out in the hotels.
Right.
I mean, some of it's for drug and alcohol rehabilitation. I mean, it's some's medical. A lot of these people have mental illness, so we do take care of that. But it's, I'm not so sure that our programs are that effective with what we spend already. And We have no plan to spend it, I can tell you that.
Well,
Didn't know it was coming. A week ago, I didn't even know it was coming.
well, if you're not able to use it, let me tell you, we got two brilliant people in the city of Newman who know how to use those dollars. One is
Well,
named
you just have
Michael
to
and one is
apply for
named
them.
Luke.
You could apply for them. You can start your own homeless shelter there in Newman. I'm sure the people would
I
be
don't
thrilled
think
with
so.
that.
No, no, thank you.
Well, let me say this and I'll quit. Get ready because the money is coming.
Yeah.
Lou
Okay.
and Michael Harlan, get ready because the money's going to be out there.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for our supervisor tonight? If not, we're going to move on to item 12, which is items from the city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just a couple things. One, item 8B, the funding for the Ron L. Singh Flagpole Memorial Enhancements. Wanted to thank you for doing that. We're just looking at doing some enhancements out there, and the gentleman who originally installed the flagpole has come back to us and wants to upgrade that to more of a commercial flagpole with some interior controls, so that way it won't get stolen. And then I think tomorrow they're having an electrician coming in who's going to put electrical to the site, and then we can upshoot with permanent lighting as opposed to just having that little solar one on there. So I think you're going to see this look a lot more commercial in nature. It's going to be some upgrades out there, as well as I think we're going to put some benches out there and a few other things. This is a project that originally Miss Elaine Collison has been working with the family on, and they've been working tirelessly trying to put it together. And so they're doing some fundraising on their own to try to get to that amount, and just wanted to thank the council. Now we can move forward with some confidence in terms of getting the contractor out there, making sure it gets done and it looks nice and professional out there. So the goal will be to have it completed by the anniversary, which, as you know, is December 26th. So we are on target for that. And again, just want to thank the council for that. If you are interested in making a donation, you can do that through the Newman Canine Association, and they're going to be taking donations to help do that. So, and then one other thing I just wanted to report out tomorrow, I will be joining CCID Irrigation District, Central California Irrigation District, at their board meeting, virtual board meeting. As you know, they kind of have some comments with respect to our annexation and an island being created within their district. I did find some policy stuff within their documents that would allow for a delayed detachment for certain properties. That would delay the creation of an island until those properties are then having a development application submitted to them. While it does not totally get rid of the fact that an island may be created, but it would delay it and make it look better. So I'm kind of throwing something out to them and seeing if we can work together and create like a win-win-win situation where the city, the district, and the property owners, it's not, we can't, those three property owners have signed on. They want to be included in the city. They want to get city utilities. So we got to make sure that they're protected as well. So trying to work with the CEO, the executive director over at CCID to see if we can create a win-win situation over there. So I'll be working on that tomorrow morning and hopefully have something back to you in the future. So with that, that's all that I have to offer you at this time, but I can answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Michael at this time? No. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Ally, are you on the line?
I'm on the line, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm just reporting back to you guys that we have our last farmers market this Friday, and fall harvest market and Newman Eats will all end this Friday. It has been really a positive, eventful market and Newman Eats that we've had all at once. With the weather coming around, getting a little bit colder, rainy days here to start in the near future, we are going to go ahead and end it on the 30th. Like I said, it's been, I think, for the restaurants themselves and just for the craft, definitely. With that being said, we're rolling around into Halloween. I know we're doing a front yard decorating contest. I've reached out to some council members to help me go ahead and do the judging. The judging will take place on the 29th. We have about 23 to 25 houses enrolled right now to be judged. The judging will take part at dusk on the 29th. We'll announce the winners socially and at our farmers market on the 30th. The winners, first, second, third, and fourth, will receive a certificate, a ribbon, and there's also gift baskets for the participants and the winners alongside. And that will kind of end our Halloween community involvement. And then we'll be moving forward to see what we're gonna do with our Christmas events, which I'll give you guys more information here on our next council meeting. With that being said, I can answer any questions that you all may have.
Any questions, Ralph?
Yes, I have a question for Ally. I've been approached by one of the residents here in the city of Newman that there's a petition that's going to be coming forward, and I don't want to talk about it. But I mentioned to the people that I would basically try to see if I can get a number. Maybe I'll call Michael. I'll get a number to where they can approach you, because it has to do with your events. So in saying that, there is a petition that is going to be coming forward in reference to things that you're doing. And let me say, what you're doing, you're making people so excited about what's taking place here in the city of Newman that now they're reaching out. So get ready, because there's a petition coming down, and I'll get a hold to Michael and to basically get a number to where they can get a hold to you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, anyone else, any questions for Ally? If not, okay. Okay, our chief is not here tonight. I'm moving on to Lou. Lou, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, just real briefly, want to report that we will be presenting our financials for fiscal year 1920 at our next council meeting. We were able to work with our auditors since last June to get those completed. Also, since they're satisfied with our books as of the end of June 30th, we're going to be resuming the treasurer's reports. I've got those going out to our treasurer. She'll have those tomorrow, and then I'll be able to start distribution on those. Other than that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
1920?
Yes. We're in 2021.
Did he
so,
say 19?
Yeah, fiscal year 1920. So we're in 2021, which hasn't completed yet. So most recent would be 1920. It takes them a few months to go through everything. Revenues from like sales tax still come in as late as August, the end of August, which get posted back to the prior year. So they weren't able to complete any of all the final reports until at least September. Then they do a myriad of testing. There's a lot of stuff that they go through. They look at payroll, look at our revenue sources, make sure they're all going to the proper accounts. They look at all of our grant funding. We have to provide them proof that we really did get the money. There's quite a bit.
And our fiscal year runs what?
It runs from July 1st to June 30th.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Lou tonight? Thank you, Lou. You can go home now. I'm just kidding. You're already home. Catherine, do you have anything for us tonight?
You go home now.
Yes, I
Catherine?
do. Thank you. Thank you,
I thought
Mayor.
maybe you left us.
I had to unmute myself.
Oh, that's good.
I just wanted to update you on a couple of our projects. The Well 10 project is moving forward. The pipeline maintenance agreement that you approved tonight will allow the contractor that's going to install the water pipes, it will allow them to mobilize and get out on the site as early as next week. And so I appreciate you adding that item at such late notice. We've got The tank is foundation for the tank out there is gonna be installed, and they expect to start constructing the tank in December. So we'll keep an eye out for that. That'll be all weather permitting, of course. Moving on, we did receive official notice that we did get our FEMA recertification, which means Newman residents are able to get a discount on their flood insurance. And so that is a big, long drawn out process that we were successful in renewing. Moving on to the seasonal inland wetland project, where we're restoring the wetlands out there on the Newman Community Conservation Area property. They're working on monitoring right now. There'll be a few months of that. So you might see some activity out there where they're monitoring greenhouse gas emissions and different environmental things on site before we determine where we're going to construct those wetlands. We have 3 projects going out to bid in December, which is the Main Street project, which comprises slurry sealing and striping. The Yolo Street project, which is some sidewalk improvements. We're actually adding sidewalk where there isn't any, so that'll be a nice addition. And then the Fig Lane pedestrian improvement project, that's also adding sidewalks where we don't have any. We're filling in the gaps throughout town with those projects. We also have the Kern Street SB1 project. That is, we're ramping up design now. And so I'll give you some updates as we start moving through that design. And that's all I got. I'll take any questions.
Sounds like a lot of project, Catherine. Anyway, any questions for Catherine? No questions. Okay, well, thank you, Catherine. Thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
with that, Chief Bowen, are you on the line? Or
Good
Vice
evening,
Mayor?
Mayor. Good evening, Council. Can you guys hear
Good
me?
evening.
Yes, we can.
Okay, just want to ease some fears about the power safety shutoffs. I know there have been some media blasts about Stanislaus County being part of that scope. However, Newman City is not anticipated to have any outages within those scopes or events. So we got nothing to worry about. But if we did have an outage, we do offer a recharge station. City of Newman Fire Department can make that mobile with short notice. So we're prepared if something comes. The other thing I want to remind everyone is replace your smoke detector batteries. Time change is coming, so we'll replace those batteries in your smoke detectors. Also check the date on them. Make sure they're not over 10 years old. If they are, it's time to replace them. If you need assistance with any of that, you can contact the local fire department. We'll go ahead and help you guys out as best we can. I can answer any questions anyone might have.
Any questions for the chief tonight? Thank you, Chief. Thank you for all you do. And with that, we're going to move on to the city council. Casey, do you have anything tonight for us?
I have nothing tonight. Just remember, vote.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Leroy, do you have anything for us tonight?
I'm right along with Casey. Go out and vote. And I want to give my blessings to Mrs. Goldstein. God bless you. Take care of that baby.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. Nick, do you have anything for us tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. And Murray, do you have anything for us tonight?
Just a reminder, vote and wear your mask.
Yeah,
Yes.
I concur with that, Murray. I see that people are doing a better job of wearing their mask. And by the way, I've already voted and it's already been counted. And with that, I'd like to ask for
So moved.
Move for adjournment.
okay, do we have a
Second.
motion?
Second.
Okay, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very, very much, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.